of that threat are more people who are loving. I truly believe that there are more people who support and love and value us. I'm hoping that with more joy and love and ease that everybody feels more comfortable being themselves, even if they are or are not LGBTQ. Pride means having joy in who you are, taking joy in watching other people be who they are, sharing in that joy and watching the joy grow. I don't think there's a pride parade I've gone to where I haven't cried. Feels like the marathon to me, where you're just excited for people to have safe space to be themselves. And I think pride is something we're often robbed of, and it's not somebody else's to take. You know, it's yours to have, it's yours to show. And yeah, I think pride is earned in a way. And I think if you are out, even if it's just to yourself, you should feel proud of that.
Aiden Hakimi lives in Brooklyn.
WNYC supporters include Optimum Business, offering business fiber with speeds up to 8 gig. More information is available at 855-2-OPTIMUM or at optimum.com/business.
Other countries have robust social safety nets. In the U.S., that safety net is tattered and frayed. Instead, we have women.
The problem is that you can't actually DIY society, and forcing people to manage all of that risk on their own has really left many families and communities just sort of teetering on the edge of collapse. And we haven't collapsed because we have women holding it together.
That's on the next On Point. Weeknights at 8 on WNYC, or live stream it at WNYC.org.
It is 6:51. You're listening to Morning Edition on WNYC. Marketplace Morning Report is next. And then later on Morning Edition, archivists at the University of Houston have saved decades of a local LGBT radio show that started in the 1970s.
Who's that cute man? That one and that one. I'll take either one of them, Charlie.
The recordings tell the story of a complex, diverse community. We'll have more on that next hour. 69 with sunshine, mostly sunny and 82 today.
Attempts to light a fire under oil prices are fizzling so far.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Viking, exploring the world in comfort. With a fleet of small ships, Viking offers travel experiences for the thinking person. Discover more at Viking.com.
I'm David Brancaccio. OPEC Plus, the oil cartel, including Russia, agreed at its latest meeting to keep its lower production limits in place to try to prop up fuel prices. To the concern of those producers and the delight of consumers, crude has been going for less than $80 a barrel since the beginning of May, and OPEC's moves don't appear to be pushing up prices at the moment. We're at $72.70 a barrel here in New York, down 2.1% today. Marketplace's Mitchell Hartman reports.
OPEC Plus announced it'll extend some voluntary production curbs into 2025 and could phase others out later this year. Andrew Gross at AAA calls it typical OPEC mushiness.
Clearly, the oil market took in OPEC Plus's news and sort of shrugged, and the price of oil dropped a couple dollars a barrel.
One thing weakening OPEC's pricing power is anemic oil demand, especially in China, says Columbia Business School climate economist Gernot Wagner.
China's economy is not growing as fast as expected, while at the same time, it is deploying electric vehicles faster.
Meanwhile, U.S. gas prices have fallen 13 cents in the past month, according to AAA, to average $3.53 a gallon nationwide. Andrew Gross predicts more of the same.
Slow, unspectacular decline through probably early July.
Gas prices do vary a lot. Californians are paying more than $5 a gallon. In Mississippi, it's just over $3. I'm Mitchell Hartman for Marketplace.
Markets Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all down about 0.5% now. The stock market in India today posted its sharpest drop in 4 years as early vote tallies in the Indian general election suggest Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party is not getting the support most expected. Modi's BJP party may not get the sweeping supermajority predicted, with a possibility it won't even get a simple majority, and that would usher in a period of political uncertainty. The possibility of a landslide for Modi had boosted stocks a day earlier. Today, India's currency, the rupee, is down 0.5% to about 83.5 to the dollar.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. With Schwab investing themes, people can invest in ideas they believe in, like artificial intelligence, renewable energy, pet passion, and more. Over 40 themes to choose from. More at schwab.com. And by Palo Alto Networks. Palo Alto Networks delivers what's next in cybersecurity innovation to protect today's digital way of life. Learn more at paloaltonetworks.com.
Now to our stories this week. To learn from cities adapting for the future of how we work and live. Pandemic and remote work are key catalysts. In Detroit, General Motors announced a milestone. It's moving its headquarters from the landmark Renaissance Center overlooking the waterfront, big GM logo on top. Its newer, smaller structure says a lot about how a big company sees the future of work. Marketplace's Nova Safo reports.
The Renaissance Center in Detroit is a 5.5 million square foot cluster of round towers. GM's logo adorns the very top of the main tower, the tallest building in Detroit and the most recognizable in its skyline. A shopping mall on the ground floors connects the buildings and displays GM vehicles past and present.
The 1955 Chevrolet was the perfect vehicle.
Literally like a museum to GM. Well, they own the place.
We're taking a tour of the complex with Andrew Gwynn of Wayne State University, a go-to researcher on all things related to economic development in Detroit. And he explains that the Renaissance Center, envisioned in the 1960s as a separate place in Motor City which one could drive to, has always been a flawed concept.
The idea at the time was really to kind of create a piece of suburbia in downtown Detroit, putting almost a fortress downtown that white suburbanites would feel safe to come work and shop in. It struck many Detroiters as not the solution that the city needed.
And the Renaissance Center has struggled to attract corporate tenants for much of its existence. Now, GM is moving out. It will relocate to a modern office building wrapped in glass about a mile north of the Renaissance Center along a stretch of street that's been revitalized and now houses high-end shops and restaurants.
When I was a kid, downtown Detroit was kind of rough to come down to.
That's Jeremy Greer, a valet at a boutique hotel across the street from GM's future headquarters. At one point, nearly a third of the city's land was vacant or abandoned. It lost more than half its population as the auto industry expanded operations outside of Detroit's core and into the suburbs.
Like a lot of buildings you see now that's open was closed, boarded up, vandalized, graffiti all over them, and now they apartment buildings, people living there, restaurants, shops like that.
Detroit has spent years working on its revival. Last month, it celebrated a milestone. According to the Census Bureau, the city gained population for the first time in 7 decades. A small gain, less than 2,000, but a gain nevertheless. Wayne State University's Andrew Gwynn says pandemic-related changes have helped.
Detroit has a lot of assets for the post-pandemic and the high-tech future. During the pandemic, people did move to the city because you could acquire a lot of land, you could build a house or acquire an old house and build it out for not a lot of money.
Since 2017, Detroit's property values have more than tripled. Across the street from what will be GM's new headquarters is a pop-up store made in Detroit, which sells Detroit-centric t-shirts, mugs, along with its own vodka. Sarah Judd is one of the people behind the brand and has an unobstructed view toward GM's future home.
Born in Detroit is the brand, and that's our claim to fame, if you want to call it that.
Right now, Judd relies a lot on traffic from suburban visitors who are in the area for Detroit Tigers games. The baseball stadium is nearby.
It's definitely noticeable for us when there's a Tiger game. We get a lot more traffic. People are out, before the game, checking out the city, because now there's things to check out.
Judd is hopeful that GM moving in across the street will bring even more customers. As for the Renaissance Center, GM says it's committed to finding a new use for it. but it's not clear yet what that would be. In Detroit, I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
Nova also looked at how another car company, Ford, has turned a haunting, dilapidated train station in Detroit into a tech center. Marketplace.org has that now. Our producers are Naomi Rainey, Nick Perez, Ariana Rosas, Alex Schroeder, Erica Soderstrom, and Natalie White. Our senior producer is Meredith Gerritsen-Morby. I'm David Brancaccio. It's the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.